Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I am Dr. Nisha Garg. I have authored textbook of endodontics, textbook of operative dentistry, and textbook of preclinical conservative dentistry. And all thanks to your love and appreciation for motivating me to start this channel. In this channel, we'll discuss different topics of dentistry in very easy way. You can also message me the topic you want me to discuss. So let's start. See, in the previous videos, we discussed about the terminology related to tooth preparation, about line and point angles, stages of tooth preparation, and outline form. So, in continuation to that, in this video, we'll be discussing about the primary resistance form. Now, first, we'll understand the definition of primary resistance form. If we look at the definition of primary resistance form, it is defined as that shape and placement of the preparation walls to best enable both the tooth and the restoration to withstand without fracture the stresses of masticatory forces which are delivered principally along the long axis of the tooth. Now let's see what does it mean. It means we need to design the cavity floors, walls, and angles in such a way that will prevent the fracture of both tooth as well as restorative material when subjected to the occlusal forces. I'll explain all these points in detail now. Now, as per the definition of the resistance form, we need to have certain features of the preparation so as to have adequate resistance form. First and the foremost feature is the box shape or mortise form of the preparation with flat pulpal and the gingival floors. Now let's understand what does it mean. It means that each wall and the floor should be in the form of flat plane meeting each other at the definite line angles. You can see in this image that all these flat walls and floors are meeting at definite line angles. This box-shaped preparation minimizes the stresses acting on the tooth and restoration. Now let's understand how it works. See, a tooth and restoration experience many types of forces like compressive forces, tensile forces, shearing forces, etc. To resist the compressive forces which are acting parallel to the long axis of the tooth, like this, the floors of preparation should be made perpendicular to the long axis of the tooth. For example, in this image, you can see that the pulpal and the gingival floor, they are made perpendicular to the long axis of the tooth. And to resist the shearing or tensile forces, the walls of the preparation, they should be made parallel to the shearing forces so as to reduce the effect of these forces. Thus, we can say that a box-shaped cavity with flat floors and parallel walls helps in the minimizing the stresses acting on the tooth and the restoration, and thereby it increases the resistance form, primary resistance form of the tooth. Another advantage of having a box-shaped cavity is that a cavity with definite walls, floors, line and point angles prevents the micro movement of the restoration and thus further shear stresses acting on the tooth. For example, you can see in this image that the cavity which has the curved floor, it shows the micro movement of the restoration, and thus the more of shearing forces will come into the play, and which increases the chances of tooth or restoration fracture, and thus we can say decrease in the resistance form. I hope this is clear now that why should we have box shape or mortise form of the preparation with flat pulpal and the gingival floors. Now let's come to the another point. For adequate resistance form, we should have sufficient bulk of the restorative material and restrict the extensions of external walls to have the strong marginal ridges. Now, first reason behind these features is simply that the sufficient bulk of both restorative material and the tooth structure will have more strength to bear the masticatory forces. The other point is that by increasing the bulk of the restorative material or leaving behind the sufficient bulk of tooth structure, the amount of stresses per unit volume will decrease, and thus this will decrease the chances of restoration or the fracture of the tooth. So I hope you understood this logic behind these points now. See, if we look at the bulk of the restorative material depends on the properties of the material. For example, for amalgam, we need to have minimum 1.5 to 2 mm of the bulk so as to have sufficient strength and to resist the fracture. I hope you can answer me in the comment section now that why the depth of tooth preparation for amalgam should be at least 1.5 to 2 mm and the cavo surface of 90° or the butt joint. Let's come to the another feature of primary resistance form. It says that we should include the weakened tooth structure in the preparation. This we have already covered that if we don't include any weakened, friable or undermined tooth structure, it may later result in the fracture of the restoration or the tooth. So the failure of the restoration. The other feature of primary resistance form is rounding of the line angles. Now what does it mean? See, if we have sharp line or point angles, they may result in the stress concentration in these areas. For example, if this is the sharp point or it's a sharp line angle, the stresses may concentrate here. But if we round it off like this, it will minimize the stress concentration here in both tooth and restoration. And this will prevent the fracture of the tooth and the restoration. The next feature in resistance form is considerations to the cusp capping. Now what does it mean? See, let's say this is a tooth, this is the central groove and this is the cusp tip of that tooth. See, if the extension from primary groove to the cusp tip is no more than half the distance, then no cusp capping is indicated. But if extension from the groove to the cusp tip is 1/2 to 2/3 of the distance, let's see it's here, then we can consider the cusp capping. But if the distance is more than 2/3, the remaining tooth structure will be very weak, and thus in such cases to prevent the fracture of the tooth, we should always protect the cusp by cusp capping. I hope now this is clear to you. So finally, let's revise all the features of primary resistance form in this image. See, box-shaped cavity with flat floors and smooth walls, adequate thickness of the restorative material by increasing the depth of the cavity and 90° of the cavo surface angle, rounding of the line and point angles, inclusion of the weakened tooth structure and consideration to the cusp capping. I hope you understood primary resistance form now. We'll cover the other steps of tooth preparation in next videos. Thanks for watching this video. Kindly like, subscribe and share with your friends if you haven't done yet. Thank you and take care.